The internet said you smoked Tupac's ashes. Is that right?
Oh, man. To be honest,
Today, we're talking to Mutah Beale, aka Napoleon from Tupac's Outlaws.
I got involved in the music industry at a very young age.
Why did you move away from the music industry?
I converted to Islam. The more I started learning about my religion, the more I started seeing a lot of things that was in opposition of my religion and my beliefs.
You started with like a really shocking story young in your childhood.
Yes. Early age of 3, my parents was murdered in front of me. I was shot in my foot. My mother was shot 13 times trying to protect me and my brothers. My father was shot once, he died instantly. We would all go meet up. Everybody in this neighborhood would meet up on a block called Chancellor Avenue. And this block is when all the bad things would happen, meaning people was getting killed, people were shooting. It was a ghetto. A lot of people don't notice that in the street life, you either going to prison or death. I eventually got introduced to Tupac Shakur through his family member. And he actually wanted to put a group together and wanted me to be part of this group. So I went from being called the Young Thugs, then we was called Dramacidal, then we became the Outlaws. You have a restaurant, all these legends would eat. Yeah. I went and thought these people would be coming to Saudi Arabia, but mad. We had Kanye West that came to our barbecue restaurant. Fat Joe came to the barbecue restaurant. To be able to do business, to feed the people, this is amazing, you know, so.
The first day you picked up a microphone and you started rapping, if you got the choice to do it all over again, would you choose that route or would you do something different?
I would choose something different.
Yeah?
I would choose something different.
What really happened with Tupac? Welcome to the show where we talk to successful people about the bits you don't see. Today, we're talking to Mutah Beale, aka Napoleon from Tupac's Outlaws. How you doing, Mutah?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much for having me in Riyadh. Lovely place. I've been here a couple of times, obviously. And yeah, I think it's a great place.
Welcome to Riyadh, man. I'm glad that you came at a time I'm in town, so we can show you some hospitality.
Yeah, of course, because we've, for the people at home, we've known each other a couple of years now. We're potentially going to be doing a project back in the day.
Yes,
and we'll catch up a bit more on that soon.
For sure, definitely.
So yeah, who are you? What's your story? Talk to me.
To give a breakdown of my background, you know, I was born in Newark, New Jersey. 15, 16 years old, I moved to Los Angeles, California when I got involved in the music industry. I got involved in the music industry at a very young age. With most people, even I believe this generation should know Tupac Shakur. I've been over about 50 million record sales worldwide, 60 million record sales worldwide. And I was in the music industry up until I would say I was able to retire willingly about 2005, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you know what I mean? So I was able to walk away from the music industry, and I'm now living in Saudi Arabia for the last 14 years.
Amazing. Tell me, why was that? Why did you move away from the music industry?
I moved away from the music industry as I converted to Islam. And the more, I believe, age maturity, the more I started learning about my religion, the more I started seeing a lot of things that was in opposition of my religion and my beliefs. And I felt it was best for me to leave it altogether. Yeah. You know, so it was a drastic, you know, decision and change. It was something that, because all I knew was music. My money, everything, my income, my livelihood was only through music. Yeah. I was kicked out of school when I was in 10th grade. So, you know, I thought that if, you know, I do the music forever, you know, so to make that change, and, you know, that's why we never know what the future holds for us. And I had to do it as I felt that was best for me.
Yeah. Yes. Now, take me right back to the start, because I know that you started with like a really shocking story young in your childhood. Yes. Talk to me about that.
Yes. So, you know, at the early age of 3, my parents was murdered in front of me. I was shot in my foot. My mother was shot 13 times trying to protect me and my brothers. My father was shot once, he died instantly. And, you know, even the people that murdered my parents, when they went to the courthouse, you know, they all got arrested. And they told the judge asked them, were you planning to even kill the children? Yeah. They said, yeah, we was going to kill the kids, but we ran out of bullets shooting after their mother. So my mother literally saved us, literally by, you know, getting these 13 bullets, fighting to protect us. And, you know, that's something that, you know, a child would never forget, you know, never forget. Even though I can't remember too much details of it, but knowing that my mother literally put her life on the line to protect me and my brothers is something that I won't forget.
That's amazing.
You know?
And why?
You know, my father was involved back then. He was in diamonds. He was selling diamonds. And he was only, my father, when he died, he was only, I believe, 25 or 27 years old. He was a young guy making a lot of money.
Yeah.
From what I know, what I was told, that he was into diamonds, making a lot of cash, making a lot of money at that time. And this was the 80s, early 80s, where it was dangerous for a young guy, especially a Black American in the city, you know, to be flashy. He had, like, you know, Cadillac Sevilles was like the hottest car back then. He had it, bought it cash, bought a house for my grandmother. My mother was always in jewelry. And I guess jealousy and envy comes with these things, you know?
Of course.
You know, I also was told, and something I read online, you know, it's very mysterious because I still don't know 100% what happened.
Yeah.
But these are what I was told, and I read online that, you know, it was also a hit put out on my father. Somebody owed my father money, and they thought that my father was going to come after them first, so they decided to pay someone else to come after my father, and killed him, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, and also my father's best friend, one of his best friends, Mustafa, was also in the house. He was killed also.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, it was a third body, yes.
So then what happens next? You moved in with your grandma?
Yes. So I moved in with my grandmother from my father's side of the family. Even though I spent a great amount of time with my mother's side of the family, predominantly my upbringing was with my father's side of the family. My mother's side of the family, they from Puerto Rico. But I would go over there on the weekends, on holidays and stuff like that. But majority was with my grandmother. And she was a very wonderful woman, man, who did her best to raise us. Because we had a household, my grandmother, we had cousins and brothers and aunties and uncles in the house. So it was like, that house was lit.
Mad house.
That was a nice house.
Yeah.
You know?
And you had brothers as well? How big was your kind of family that's moved in there afterwards?
So we had brothers, of course. We had our... it was me, my brother Mooney, my brother Camille. He's my youngest brother. He passed away not too long ago. But then we had cousins in the house. We had my cousin Roddy, Sharif, Samira, and then I had aunties, you know, my aunt Maxine, Martha, Linda. So the house was always packed. And
how big's the house?
The house it wasn't a big house. I would say it probably was a 3-bedroom house, 2 levels, but it was very packed. We had a basement. We had people sleeping in the attic, people sleeping in the basement. And also it was a house, we never locked our door. This is no lie. Like, and it was, everybody in the neighborhood respected us. They knew not to do nothing. Yeah. But my grandmother was welcoming. She always wanted people, even strangers, can come and just, friends from across the street, just come and eat cereal or whatever and go back outside and run.
It's like Riyadh.
Riyadh, it was like Riyadh. So I seen that hospitality with my grandmother.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice. So what happens next? Like, because you go from there to becoming a rapper. What happens in between?
So what happened in between, I kind of got sidetracked, meaning that I started getting involved in streets. Yeah. You know, because, you know, leaving my grandmother's house, we would all go meet up. Everybody in this neighborhood would meet up on a block called Chancellor Avenue. And this block is when all the bad things would happen, meaning people were selling drugs, people was getting killed, people were shooting. It was a ghetto, you know. But in my time, I thought this was the norm. So I started hanging out with these people, and I realized that I started getting more and more involved in the street life, you know, because my brothers and my cousins started selling drugs. So I might have been 13, 14 years old, seeing my first gun, pistol by my cousin Sharif, who lived in the same bedroom with us, pulling out his gun, pulling out cocaine, crack vials. So I started seeing, having cash or money next to him. So I started seeing that lifestyle. So eventually I tried to get involved in it. But at the same time, while me getting involved in selling drugs, I started writing raps. Yeah. I started doing poetry because this was a time in the early 90s, it wasn't that many rappers in the ghetto. Everybody didn't want to be a rapper like it is now. So I became my locals a neighborhood star because I would write raps and the drug dealers would pay me to rap for them. Oh, wow. So I was realizing like this is something that I can take serious, you know? I just didn't know what route to take. Yeah. Yeah.
And what's like the upsides of that life? Because obviously we know the downsides, we'll talk about them soon, but what are the positive sides of that part of your life?
The positive sides of that part of my life is like, growing up in the ghetto, you grow up in a community. Yeah. You know, everybody in your neighborhood becomes your clique, become your crew. So we fight for each other if we have to. We defend each other. It's almost like you have an extension family. You know? So we become family. That's the good side about it. The bad side about it is that sometimes it's cutthroat. The people that you thought would be your family would be the first ones to blow your head off if you turn your back on them. And it's a hostile. You're going to either get prison. A lot of people don't notice that in the street life, you either going to prison or death. There's no option.
So that's what I see it. As like the whitest, most British guy ever, like, I just see from the movies, you either go to jail or die.
And that's what it is, brother. It's either you're going to jail or you're going to die. But for some reason, people are blinded because they caught up in the moment. So they believe that, I believe every drug dealer, every person on the street believe that I'm going to be the one person to make it. I believe this is why they keep going, you know, but it's always the same ending.
Yeah, and how many people from that life that were heavily involved in it have made it out?
How many of them died?
That you know of, like, how many of your friends are still going?
I have countless of them who died. I can't probably keep up with the count that got killed, that's murdered. And the rest, you know, either changed their lives by working, having a family, and the other remaining is probably still on that block or in jail. Yeah. You know, so it's a sad cycle. You know, it's a sad cycle, unfortunately.
And then you've managed initially to make it out into rapping, and then we know what happens next, and we'll get to that. But how do you transition from streets, drugs, to rapping?
Well, so, you know, becoming a rapper early, writing these lyrics and stuff, I eventually got introduced to Tupac Shakur through his family member. And he actually wanted to put a group together and wanted me to be part of this group. So I went from being called the Young Thugs, then we was called Dramacidal, then we became the Outlaws. Yeah. Once we became the Outlaws, we appeared on records that sold, like I said, 60 million records worldwide. The difference between the streets and the music industry at that time, it really wasn't no different, because Death Row Records, you got to understand, was ran by Suge Knight, who was a gang member. And even though the company was worth 300 million, it was very successful, but at the same time, it was also dangerous, because in LA back then, you know, you got Suge homies who all Bloods or Pyrus, and then you got Snoop and them, all Crips. And both sides, you got killers. So it's always tension in the studio that anything can happen anytime. So
they're in the studio together when they're from different sides?
From different sides, but because it was business, it brought them together. But every once in a while, things flared up. You know, so I realized at a young age that there's no difference being in Death Row Records in the street, because we was beating people up in the studio. You got to leave, you have to, it might even be more worse now because we with Pac, who was an easy target, so all of us had to make sure that we carry guns on us. So not only do Pac will have an armed security, members of the Outlaws, at least one of us will always have to have a gun on us.
And that's in case somebody else comes and tries to kill you?
Yes, because now Tupac is a target. Rappers become targets as well. So we, even though we his rappers, but he trained us to always be, we was like security. We was like an extra layer of security. We couldn't enjoy life really at a young age. We was young teenagers.
Yeah, because this is young, right? Because he died when he was mid-20s.
He died at 25.
This is even younger.
Yes, bro. I'm talking about 16, 17 years old.
Wow.
You know, gotta be on point looking. Why is that person standing looking like that? Why is it, you know, like it was the life. It was the reality, you know?
Now talk to me about Tupac. How does that start? What's it like being a kid on the streets and then Tupac's phoning up saying, oh, come and rap with me?
Well, for me, it was my dream, because I always wanted to be, even though I was from the East Coast, I always was fascinated by West Coast rap, because at that particular time, it wasn't too much gangster music going on the East Coast. So West Coast rapper was talking about what I was seeing in my environment. My brothers and my cousins became the biggest drug dealers in my neighborhood. So I was seeing this murder. I was seeing these things. This was my reality. So I was always loved the West Coast. And Pac at that particular time was an Oakland rapper. And he always had a message. Even though he had West Coast gangster sounding, he always had a positive message. And I always wanted to be on the West Coast. That was like my dream. So to meet Tupac, to get, you know, with him, and he's a normal person, very humble when I first met him, I was blown away, like, man, you know what I mean? It was almost surreal to me at the beginning, yes.
Yeah, and like, what is he like as a person?
Man, Pac was a very, you know, I would say, he was a people's person. He was a people's person. He was always in tune to what's going on in the ghetto, you know, humble person. He, you know, he was dreaming in a way that he wanted to do so much for the inner cities of America. He had the opportunities, he didn't have the opportunities, I mean, to really do it, but he had so many dreams, so many plans that he wanted to do, you know what I mean? So he had a big heart and always wanted to help people.
And his music was so beautiful, right? When you actually listen to the lyrics, some of it is so nice.
He was a lyricist, you know, or poetry, you know, a majority of his songs had a positive message, but of course, we're going to also speak about that other side. So Pac was a person that you could say, let's put the music aside, but focus on the lyrics. Like you said, most of his lyrics was positive. It had a positive message, you know?
Now, talk to me about Napoleon. Talk to me about the Outlaws. Like, what happens when you're rapping?
So the Outlaws was a group that Pac put together, and you know, it was myself, Napoleon, because when Pac was in prison, you know, he got shot in New York, and then he got locked up for something he didn't do. While he was in prison, it kind of started changing his mindset. He became a little more aggressive because people was out to kill him. And he said, when I come out, I want to be different. I want to give you guys names of enemies of America or tyrant. So one by one, he started saying, okay, Napoleon, because I used to have a very bad temper back in the day and I'm short-statured. He said, you know, you got the Napoleon complex, what people used to say. He said, you're going to be Napoleon Bonaparte. You're going to be Idi Amin from the Uganda president. Idi Amin, who was also looked as a tyrant to the Western world. And you're going to be Hussein from Saddam Hussein, who also looked like a tyrant. This time, a lot of rappers wanted to get names of Italian mobsters. Pac took it to the next level. He took it to, you know, the head of states. You're going to be Gaddafi, from Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. You're going to be, you know, then we had Storm, who was a female artist, and then you had Nuts. So these are all people in Whack Deuce, and these are all, we became a family, you know, eventually. Then you had Castro. You had these names, you know, from the Cuban president.
Wow, see, I never knew that. I never knew that that was how you were all named.
Yes.
And obviously drew the parallels. Napoleon, is that what it means? But
yes. And he came up with this idea while he was in prison. And then he decided to be a part of this group. He changed his name to Machiavelli, what people call him Machiavelli for short, where I believe he was a writer or a prince from Italy who faked his own death. And, you know, so Pac came and changed his name to Machiavelli, and then we came to Outlaws.
Wow.
Yes.
So talk to me about the Outlaws music. Like, talk to me about the kind of rise to fame of the Outlaws.
So the Outlaws, I would say we was more like the backup rappers of Pac. So, you know, when he came out of prison, he put out album All Eyes on Me. We probably was on 5-6 songs on All Eyes on Me, so 20 million records. Then he did other like soundtracks we was on with videos. And then we actually put an album out together called Tupac Outlaws, Still I Rise. That record sold, I think, 1.5 million. It went platinum. So that kind of was, that record really was the rise of us really getting up there. But it wasn't promoted properly. We had some issues with the record label. You know, they didn't really want to push it, you know, because of some differences we was having. And after Pac died, it kind of went downhill because, you know, now Pac is gone. The rappers who we was dissing, Jay-Z and Puff Daddy, now these people are becoming big figures. And we kind of got blackballed, believe it or not. So we went independent. We did go independent where we was making much more money selling records independently, but we wasn't reaching a larger audience, you know? So we was selling, one time we had a deal where I believe we was getting about $10 per CD we sell.
Wow.
And even though we only sold about 200,000 copies, but we was getting $10 per CD. So we started making more money, but the fame was diminishing, you know? Yes.
And then what happens next?
So then after that, we continue. You know, we continue to do our thing. You know, I would say after we, you know, after these 2 albums or a few albums we put out independently, I became Muslim in 2002. And when I became Muslim in 2002, I decided to leave the rap group and I signed a record deal with Johnny J. He was Tupac's main producer, one of his main producers. And he decided, he's like, I want to work with you one-on-one. And I signed a record deal with him. And then I decided, after completing that record not too long ago, I want to quit rap. It was the best music I ever recorded in my entire life. But I had to make a decision. You know, I got married. I had my second son, Muhammad. And I started thinking. I started getting more into my religion. And I had to make a decision that I felt was best for me and my belief system. And I eventually left the music, the Outlaws and the music altogether.
And there's such a contrast, right, between rapping in LA and all these things and Islam in Riyadh. Like, what a transition. How do you, what's that period like going from here to here?
Well, it took some time, you know. I moved here, you know, I became Muslim 2002. I moved to Saudi Arabia 2010.
Oh, wow. So you're in America for a long
all that time. Yeah, I was in America all that time. So, but I always knew I wanted to move here. So in 2010, I was able to move here, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made, you know, because as you know, it's a very safe environment. And Saudi Arabia, not knowing back then, it's like the future right now. It's the future of so many things, you know. So when I first moved there, I wasn't expected to be doing business here and stuff like that, but it all worked out.
Nice.
It all worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I love Riyadh, man. I love the whole Middle East. So I was on
Yes.
I had a girl on who's a golfer. I'm literally recording with her last week. She's coming out soon.
Yes.
And she's played golf in Riyadh quite a few times. And I said to her, and I'll say it to you as well, that I think the only place that I could move from Dubai is Saudi now. Like, I think that I don't think I will yet. I think there's still a lot of growth to go, but I would only move from Dubai to
It has the potential,
Yeah.
yes. And I definitely understand because, Saudi Arabia is, I believe, it's going to have a long run.
Yeah.
I believe so because they're doing things properly, step by step, very strategic,
Yeah.
and it's still developing.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And to be able to witness these things is amazing as well.
Yeah, and you've been here so long, right? You've been here, what, 14 years?
14
so you've
years,
seen
yes.
it from nothing to, I mean, it's still got a long way to go even now, I would say.
I see a lot of the changes. 70% of the Saudi population are below the age of 35.
Wow.
So it's a young, vibrant community, so
It's a big population as well, isn't it? Yeah.
I believe Saudi might be 28 million, 30 million. Riyadh alone is 8 million.
Wow.
So it's a lot of potential, bro. You know what I mean? And the
Amazing.
people are very hospitable, as you said.
Incredible. Like, honestly, I've never seen it. The Saudis are so welcoming. They'll welcome you into their house, come and eat. I mean, when we came, you need to eat. You must have a coffee. Like, that's what they're like here. And
yes,
like, whereas I'm from Britain, where you don't even look at someone. You walk past somebody in the street.
The
and you
same
don't
in
even
America.
Look
The same in America.
Yeah, exactly.
They would eat. The good thing, I could say my grandmother raised me different, though. My grandmother used to tell me, because she was one of them old school Christians from West Virginia, like old school.
Yeah.
Like the lady that you might see in the movies walking around with the Bible, like she was that,
Yeah.
And I remember my grandmother used to tell me back in the day when I used to try to take food outside, she said, if you don't have enough to feed everybody, do not eat in front of people unless you can share.
Wow.
So my grandmother taught me that. So coming to the Middle East, it was a concept that I knew. I'm used to it, But still, they next level, bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see Saudi neighbors, I run from them because I'm like, bro, if he see me, he's going to make me come
stuck,
eat. I'm stuck. When I first moved here, I literally used to hide from my neighbors.
I've got friends that I went to university with in Scotland, from Saudi, from down south, Red Sea and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I said to one of them, I'm coming to Saudi, I'm coming to Riyadh. Only 2 days ago, he messaged me, I'm going to come and see you, bro. I'm coming up Saturday. I've not seen him in like 5 years. He wants to come up to see me.
That's how they are.
Yeah.
He's from Saudi.
Yeah, he's from 400 kilometers south.
Because it's
he's
their
going to
culture.
drive up to see me.
That's amazing, bro.
Yeah. Like, you've come to my country, I need to come and see you.
Yes, they have that, and I pray they never lose that.
Yeah, 100%.
They never lose that.
100%. It's such a nice place. And obviously, I'm here for the UFC tonight.
Yeah,
I had a boxer on the podcast a few weeks ago that fought in the same place. So there's so much sport coming here. There's so much, everything coming here.
Everything is coming. I would have never thought that I'd be sitting here and you see like the amount of Americans, even some of them are friends in Saudi Arabia. I'm like, what? Jay Prince, he used to be the CEO of a record company called Rap A Lot Records, very legendary. And he came here.
Yeah.
And, we had Kanye West that came to our barbecue restaurant. Fat Joe came to the barbecue restaurant. He was the first one. Shout out to Fat Joe.
You're friends with him, aren't you?
Yeah, Fat Joe, a good guy, man. Mike Tyson came. So I would have never thought, like, if you would have told me one day you'll have a restaurant and all these legends would eat, I wouldn't have thought these people would be coming to Saudi Arabia.
It's
but
mad.
It's amazing.
Well, I did a list this morning of the people. I went through your Instagram and just the people in the first kind of 20 images. Kanye West, who you've seen, Mike Tyson, Alexander Usyk. How many times has he been
Usyk come
all the time?
Bro, every time he fight, he comes, bro.
He was here for the week before his last fight.
Yeah, usually people don't eat before they fight. But he comes to get his ribs. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah, I guess he's heavyweight, isn't he? So it's a bit easier for him.
Definitely.
Deontay Wilder.
Came.
A couple of times he's been here as well.
He came a couple of times, yes.
Macklemore, Fat Joe, you said. Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence came.
And these are only like the top guys. Like there's
these
a lot
top
of
guys. These top guys.
The last one I've got here, Israel Adesanya, who obviously I'm here to see tonight. He's fighting
tonight. Yeah, he came and he was supposed to come this time.
Yeah.
But then a mutual friend of ours was like, he got to cut weight, so maybe after he have time.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to see.
He's made weight though, hasn't he?
He made weight. Yeah. So to see this, I would have never thought this, brother. If you would have told me, this is things that will happen, I'm glad to be part of it. I'm glad to be part of it.
And Piers Morgan, I know he didn't come, but you said before he wanted
Morgan
an interview
invited
with
me
you.
on the show, and I didn't want to get on because it was based only on P Daddy and Puff Daddy, and I say even though I might have my differences and I don't like him, Puff Daddy, because of certain reasons, but I didn't want to go on the show to speak solely about that. So I was like, because I don't know the case and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and I don't want to speak about something that they mess around and call me in and say, well, you got to come now.
Come back to America. Yeah, crazy, man, crazy.
Yeah.
And we obviously were speaking to your friend before who said that Piers Morgan said about Saudi that it was completely different to what he expected when he came.
He came, and that's what a lot of people say this, brother. You know, also we had Big Baby. What's his name? Big Baby came. A boxer.
Is it Jared Miller?
Jared Miller came.
Yeah.
And then the other Big Baby.
No, they're two different people.
Yeah,
Anderson, is it Anderson? Is Big Baby.
The Big Baby came. I just know him as Big Baby, but what's his real name? Because Jared Will also, but
somebody Anderson. He's massive, big
tall, Baby.
Black guy.
I just call him Big Baby, but I got to think of his real name is
I'm gonna take a look and
yeah,
I will tell you.
So he came. He had a group of guys that was with him, and they said the same thing, that we was told not to come to Saudi Arabia. It's dangerous, and coming here, bro, I don't even want to leave this place.
Yeah,
you know. So
I seen when I was looking there as well. Devin Haney again, top.
Devin Haney came.
Yeah,
we got a lot of top people that come, and Shakur Stevenson is a good friend of mine, mutual friend. Like even though we never met, we come from the same cloth, the same city, the same family. I wouldn't say a good friend of mine, but we like family.
Yeah.
You know, we like family. So he's coming to fight next month in February.
Oh, is he fighting on the Bivol, the big one that's got all the fights?
So hopefully we get him either most likely after the fight. He won't be able to eat, but you know, so amazing.
And how do all the people come here? Like, why do they all come to Smoky Beards?
I think because a lot of mutual friends, and also we do have authentic style smoke American barbecue.
Yeah.
Maybe they get here and they hear about it where they like, man, I want some American food now. We love Arabic food. We had a week of Arabic food, and they start missing food. And people might say, well, wait a minute. One of the Outlaws members has a barbecue joint, and they come through, you know? But a lot of times it's through mutual friends that say, hey, such and such is coming to Riyadh. He wants to come to the restaurant. We tell him, bring him through.
So talk to me a little bit more about Islam. What do you do in a normal day? You said you've got to go for prayer in a little bit.
So basically, Islam, I would say it's probably the world's most misunderstood religion, honestly.
I've got that noted to talk about later.
It's very misunderstood, but Islam, just in a nutshell, we would say we believe and worship God only. God. We don't say God is a man, a woman, or, you know, he's the creator of the heavens and the earth. We as Muslims believe in all the prophets sent by God, Adam, Muhammad, Jesus, Abraham, Isaac, David. We believe in all these prophets, Moses, and we believe Muhammad is the last prophet who came 1,400 years ago. We believe in Jesus. We believe in his miraculous birth. We believe his mother's mother married a virgin. We just don't believe that he's God or the son of God. We believe he's a creation of God. And that's pretty much it. We pray 5 times a day. We try our best to be as good people as much as we can. But Islam knows that no one will be perfect. So we have something called Tawbah, repentance, that, you know, the Prophet Muhammad said every son of Adam commits sins, but those who are best from the sinners, the one who repent. So we know in Islam that we're going to make mistakes. We're not perfect, but we believe as long as you worship God alone and pray to God alone, that he's the most merciful. Because the one thing he don't want us to do is to associate partners with him. Because he created us, he provided for us, he feed us. Just worship him. You know, that's pretty much Islam in a nutshell.
It sounds a lot closer to Christianity than I would have thought. It's probably a lot closer to Christianity than most people would realise.
Yeah. I believe one of the difference between Christianity and Islam, one of the main differences is that they would say, some denominations of Christians would say Jesus is God. Some would say he's the son of God. Yeah. We believe Jesus is a prophet of God and a message of God. We believe he did a lot of miracles by the permission of God so that people can know that he's a true prophet of God, but not to worship him, you know? It seemed like, unfortunately, in the West, a lot of the media either do ignorance or just purposely trying to give Islam a bad name. Because sometimes I see some of these mainstream media outlets and I'll be like, why would they say that? That's not true. So, and media gets around and people, you know, just want Islam, you know, for some reason they want to spread false things about the religion of Islam, you know. So it's very weird to me, you know, but we do understand that it happens. And now with social media, people are able to clarify, you know, like what's happening in Palestine and these type of things. And people see it in themselves, you know, because social media it's a form of media, you know. And you spoke to me before we came up here about going to London and doing some work with the community. Talk to me about that. So I used to do a lot of work with the council. I guess that's what you guys call it.
Yeah.
The council, the Metropolitan Police, especially when I was a new Muslim in my early days of Islam. I did a lot of work with them. And they brought me out there to speak against extremism, because I guess in the early 2000s they had a rise of new Muslims converting to Islam, but going towards the extremist route. Which in the religion of Islam we reject extremism. Even the Prophet Muhammad himself, he spoke about extremism. Whoever go extreme in their religion will be destroyed. So, and also about the knife violence that they was having and the gang violence. So I used to go there for years. I had a good run, you know. I had a good run until they had to cut budget, you know.
And you were probably a lot more helpful than probably anything that they do today, because you'd have been a lot more relatable to them and stuff like that.
I hope so. And a lot of the youth in the UK understood my background, so I think that helped. That opened the door. That kind of removed the curtain from the beginning, where they said, "Well, this is a guy who understands us because he comes from a similar background than us," and that definitely helped. That definitely helped.
And you said there that Islam rejects extremism. I think that that's a really important point, because I think that a lot of people in the West just see the extremism and paint the same brush across the rest of Islam.
Yeah, and it seemed like that's what will get the media attention. You know, extremism. You know, the Prophet Islam, for example, the Prophet, while he was alive, said that there will come a group of people that if you listen to them recite the Quran, it would sound beautiful as if bees humming. When you see they worship, he was talking to his companions, you see they worship compared to your worship, they will outdo you. But then the Prophet said, but I'm here to tell you, they the dogs of the hellfire. He was speaking about these extremists who kill in the name of Islam, meaning that they kill innocent people in Islam. Islam is a balanced religion where it said, okay, if it's a battlefield, which is a battlefield, you have a right to defend yourself and fight, but to kill innocent people, even Allah said there's no compulsion in religion. Allah says in the Quran, you cannot force nobody to be a Muslim. You cannot harm innocent people because he doesn't agree with your religion. So all of these things are rejected by the Prophet and his companions. So the Prophet said those people are dogs of the hellfire. Then he said, if I was alive when they come, I would slaughter them myself. The Prophet predicted this, you know. He said, I would fight these people myself, you know.
And so Muslims as a whole kind of agree with the West in that the radical ones are bad.
Of course, but the media doesn't portray. The media is not going to show that. The media want the people to believe that this
doesn't
is
sell
Islam.
in newspapers.
It doesn't sell newspaper, exactly. So they want the people to believe that this is Islam, and it's only a few people who agrees with that. But no, majority of the Muslims, because believe it or not, a lot of the Muslims, you know, the number one target to these extremists will be Muslims first. Because they believe like if you don't agree with them, then you left Islam. So they believe our blood is halal. So they would come at us the same way they want to blow up some stuff in America or the West. They want to blow up. They do that also in Muslim countries as you hear these things, you know. Unfortunately.
And I mean, I knew that was what you were going to say, but it's just great to have that, like, to be published, because that's not the perspective of the West
at all. It must be known, and we want to get that word out, you know. Nothing in the religion of Islam tell us to harm an innocent person based on religion or based on ethnicity or based on anything. You cannot harm an innocent person. Islam teaches us that even if we oppress or harm insects for no reason, certain insects that can harm you, okay, you have a right to get rid of these insects. Like we shouldn't kill bees. We shouldn't kill ants. We shouldn't kill animals or these things for no reason. Like plants, you shouldn't even kill a plant for no reason in Islam. We will be questioned about this, you know?
Amazing. Right. So now let's talk about business, because you know you were a rapper, you're a Muslim, you still are, and you've become this businessman. We're in your new cafe today. Stunning cakes and stuff downstairs. Amazing coffee. We're going to go for some brisket next door soon. Talk to me about your businesses.
So we have, now we're here in Bakersfield, which is a bakery / coffee shop. We have, we bake our goods every single day, 3-4 times a day, fresh croissants, bread, sandwiches. We have hot panini sandwiches. We had all types of different desserts and different type of sandwiches, different desserts. And it's something, and we have some of the best coffee that you will find. And we've been open for now 2 months, we would say. And you know, bring a lot of people together. For those who want to know, we 3 doors down from Smoky Bears, which is also a smokehouse. that we created with American and Saudi partners, Dallas, Texas style smokehouse, that you would try after this and give us your feedback, you know. So we also have a smash burger joint called Outlawz.
Yeah.
It's in another location that you would try hopefully the next time you come.
Yeah.
So, to be able to live in a country, to be able to do business, to feed the people, this is amazing, you know. So because food, coffee in this region bring people together. All regions, you know, but one thing about Saudi Arabia, especially, you know, because their hospitality of Arabs, they don't even like eat alone.
Yeah.
You know, they always in groups because they tribal people. So it always bring a group of people and bring the people together, you know.
I always find it crazy when I'm driving along the road in Jumeirah at midnight after I've gone for some food in Dubai, and you see all the Muslims in a coffee shop at midnight. So many. All sitting having their coffee.
Yeah, they drink coffee here all night, you know.
I stopped drinking coffee at 3 p.m. or I can't go to sleep at night.
Here you tell them, I don't want to drink coffee at 8 o'clock. They're, you're a little kid. You're a wuss. They think this stuff, you know.
So what's next? What other businesses have you got on the horizon?
So we're trying to focus on these 3 businesses as of now. We're really trying to, maybe in the future, we will expand, especially the Oakland burger, because it's easy to expand. And also the smokehouse, we got a lot of requests from people from all over the world. We think now we might be at that stage where we're going to start doing some joint ventures or franchises where you might start seeing smoky beers all over, God willing. Inshallah.
Inshallah. And Tal said before this, she said, you're not going to say inshallah, you're not going to say mashallah. I've got to say inshallah. I can hear her laughing next to me. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Oh, good man. What's your proudest moment? It could be anything, whether it's rapping, whether it's Muslim, whether it's business. What's your proudest moment?
My proudest moment is
family,
brother. You know, and nothing like it to watch my kids grow up, especially in this country, to be able to see my kids grow up to young adults. It's my proudest moment. That's my
amazing.
Proudest moment.
And your kids are so tall.
Yeah, my son Muhammad is my second oldest. He's like 6'3". That's from his mother's side of the family. He's like, and all of them, his brother's next. They are his brother, 16, is already taller than me. My youngest one, 11, is Salman. He's my height now. So
amazing. Right, let's loop it back. Let's go back to the rapping days. I've seen the movies, the kind of West, East, Biggie, Tupac stuff. Talk to me about those days.
It was actually something that, you know, when Pac first got shot in New York in 1994, I would say, that kind of sparked it, you know, because, you know, Pac was affiliated with the West Coast, and for long, the East Coast reigned when it came to hip hop, and the West Coast was new on the scene. But a lot of New Yorkers was talking down on them, dissing them, not saying this original hip hop. So it was some animosity because, you know, the West Coast was the newest people, even though you had people from the South, but a lot of the big stars was coming from the West at that particular time. And the West Coast and the East Coast, it was a little bit of animosity already. Pac got shot, and it just kind of spiraled out of control from that. You know, he signed to Death Row Records, which is a West Coast label. Biggie and it was on East Coast Bad Boy. And it just became, I would say, I believe the media also made it bigger than what it was. And people lost their lives. A lot of people got hurt. It became crazy. It became crazy.
And there's been so much speculation in the media, in the news. You were obviously friends with him. What really happened with Tupac?
We believe, of course, he fought a guy. This is how it works in America, especially on the West Coast. When Tupac got into a fight with the guy in Las Vegas, he fought a Crip from Compton who was a known killer. Pac probably didn't know that at that time. He got into some fights with some Death Row members who were Bloods. And the mindset of a gang member is that he's going to come back for revenge. It's just part of their get-go. You know, if somebody put hands on you, you got to retaliate. You got to prove yourself that, you know, so that pretty much what happened with Pac. You know, he fought a guy who was a known gang member, and that's their stilo. He figured, I have to get revenge. You know?
And is the right person in jail?
We don't really know who pulled the trigger, but the person who's in jail, Keefe D, he got on internet and so many interviews and even wrote a book that he was in a car. So you put yourself on a murder scene, most likely you're going to end up in jail. Like he just went, you know what I mean? And he should have been on the world's dumbest criminals, because I don't even know people that move that way, especially from that generation. You know, you might say that about the rappers now. They might do something, they rap about it. Well, I say, man, these are the world's dumbest rappers now, because even in our time, if we do something, we definitely not going to rap about it. You know? But he got a profit agreement, and he thought the profit agreement was forever.
Yeah.
A profit agreement is that you have this agreement with the government that whatever you tell them at that sitting, they cannot hold it against you.
Wow.
He walked away and wrote a book and started doing interviews because he thought the profit agreement is for life.
Oh my
And now
God.
he's in jail.
What a mess.
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
mess.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, so he was there. I was Googling this morning and the internet said you smoked Tupac's ashes. Is that right?
Oh, man. To be honest, yes. we were some crazy youngsters. You know? It was something that Pac wanted us to do at that particular time. Of course, I wasn't Muslim, different mindset. We believed that if our friend died, he always used to say, man, if I die, because I feel I'm going to die before you guys, I'm not going to live that long. You know, in my will, I just want you guys to smoke my ashes. And we did it. You know, we thought we were honoring our friend.
Good, yeah.
As crazy as it sounds.
That was his wishes, man.
That was his wish, but it's still crazy, bro.
I read that. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So he knew that. He knew he was going to die.
That's why a lot of his music was about death.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of his music, he was saying that, you know, for example, he would say, I'm still me till they kill me. He was always saying, when he's jealous, people kill me. Like a lot of his lyrics based that they're going to come kill me. And he's even in normal conversation, he didn't feel like he was going to live that long.
Yeah.
You know?
It must be so crazy living that life. What did you think? Did you think you would survive until you're, what, 47 now?
I didn't think I would survive to 47 because a lot of my peers got killed. A lot of them, it would just, when you grew up in that environment, you start seeing that so many people dying at a young age, you start feeling like this is inevitable going to happen.
It must be so normal.
Yeah, you start thinking it's normal, you know? So it's just a reality, bro. And I didn't realize, and now I thank God I'm survived that, you know? Survived them young, crazy days, brother. Yeah.
That is so crazy. Like, I can't even imagine, again, being like this white British kid to like that lifestyle.
Yeah, the lifestyle is crazy. So you see that it comes with this stuff, so you start believing you're next. You know?
And like, are you just, in those days when you're rapping, are you just drunk all the time? Are you high all the time? Like, or is there any normal? Or is that
some
the
people
normal?
are normal. Like, you got 50 Cents who don't smoke or drink.
Yeah.
You know, you got some rappers who are smart enough than that. But I would say when I was involved, I was a drunk pretty much. You know, that's my go-to. Like I wanted to, you know, I guess you want to kind of numb yourself from reality. You know, to live that lifestyle, you kind of want to numb yourself from reality, and that's how I was living my life. You know.
And it's so crazy to go from being a drunk, drinking all the time, to, I mean, when was your last drink alcohol?
I would say my last time I drunk, 21 years ago.
Wow.
Thank God.
Wow.
Thank God.
That's so crazy. Like, to go from probably the first 21 years of just drinking every day
brother,
to the next 21 years of nothing.
Thank God. And Islam was able to help me with Allah's permission, you know? Yeah.
And so talk to me about Islam's role in what how could it help people in that position? How could it get people out of
Islam is a disciplined religion, so things that are pretty much bad for you or bad for society is rejected, not allowed in Islam. Like drinking alcohol is one of them things. Is you know, study shows now that alcohol, it leads to even some type of cancer. They said drinking alcohol, they found out that it's one of the most leading things for cancer. You know, it was a rumor, 2 cups of wine a day is good for you. Even doctors and scientists say that's all a lie. It affects the brain. It affects society. I seen a person get drunk and just shoot people. I don't really see nothing good that came out of it, really. So anything that Islam tells us to stay away from is really for our own benefit. Honestly, brother, honestly.
I don't drink much anymore. I've had my days as well. Like when you were younger, I mean, I would drink a lot, 22, 23, but I've maybe drank 2 or 3 times in the last year.
Then when you gonna become Muslim, bro?
Yeah, not long, bro.
Become Muslim, hopefully
soon. Yeah, soon. Yeah. So business, you make it look so easy. Like you've got all of these things. Like, talk to me about the other sides of that.
Business is not easy. You know, one thing I can thank after God is that my partners. You know, because for the first time I did business, I always tell people they don't see, like, I might have started, this is an example, 100 businesses, 99 of them failed.
Yeah.
The outside looking in, they don't see that part of business. But with the businesses I have now, because we're such a team and everybody play their role perfectly, I think this is why it look easy. I could come behind and say, and make it look easy because of my partners who are very hard workers, who are the best partners, thank God, you know, that I finally, from a lot, first God and then my partners, because, you know, it's very important to have partners on the same page with you. So I have partners who are God-fearing people, They're not greedy people. They're not cutthroat people.
No.
It's just blessed to have these people in my life.
No.
Definitely.
Amazing. Now we first met about a deal in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, with
a
Napoleon,
glamping
who's
site.
also
Yeah.
another beautiful
Yeah.
friend of mine and good business partner. We met and we was talking about doing a bit deal
Yeah.
together. Shout out to Napoleon
Yeah.
in Puerto Rico.
Now
you know?
talk to me about that. What
So
happened?
we wanted to, you know, we bought 18 acres of land in Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
as you know, and we was going to do the glamping project on
Yeah.
it. Unfortunately, we hit so many red tapes where they made it impossible for us to continue
Yeah.
to do this project because 1 minute they say you only can build on a certain percentage of the land
Yeah.
because it's federal protected land. And then when we went to go get the license, they say there's a chance you might not get, you know, a license to build in this, but you have to apply anyway.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to pay $50,000 because you need to bring an archaeologist, and still they can tell you no.
Yeah.
So this is what we was facing. We
Yeah.
like, you know, it's sad because Puerto Rico is such a beautiful island. They want people to come to invest, but whoever's in charge need to change these rules
Yeah.
because no one's going to bring money to a country when you have this many red tapes
Yeah.
to this island. So they really need to get it together.
Yeah.
You know?
And do you think they will?
Huh?
Do you think they will get it
I
together?
hope they get it together.
Yeah.
If not, then I don't see no good that's going to really come from it. You know?
Yeah.
I don't see no good. The people is lovely, the land is lovely, the country is lovely, but business is going to be difficult for people to invest. And they
Yeah.
want people to invest there. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, 100%. Right, this is one of the last questions I'm going to ask. I ask everyone, and everyone's answer is always quick. I don't know if you're going to be the same. So let's take us back to the first day you picked up a microphone and you started rapping. If you got the choice to do it all over again, would you choose that route or would you do something different?
I would choose something different.
Yeah?
I would choose something different. Maybe I'm saying that now because of my
It's
belief
easy to say
system.
no. Yeah.
It's easy to say no, but because I know that I love poetry, writing. I love that talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I made some very good friends in the music industry, but it was more heartache than good. It was
Yeah.
more pain than good.
Yeah.
You know, people died, people in prison. I lost some very good friends because of that. So if I can, I would have chose something different.
Yeah. And so I thought you were going to say that. And then I thought, but what path would your life have taken if you'd not?
And that's what go back to what you just mentioned. But because I know everything happens for a reason and everything is written for me, I accept what was written for me.
Yeah.
You know, the reality is that this is what was written for
Yeah.
me. God is the most wise, and He chose this path for me, and I can't see my life no other way, to be honest.
And now a much easier one. Let's go back to the first day you picked up a Quran.
Yes.
Would you pick that Quran up if you had the choice to either pick it up or not and go and do something
Pick it up. And I wish I would have picked it up sooner. You know,
Thought you would say
sooner.
Amazing.
Definitely.
Well, thank you very much, bro. It's been amazing. Where do people keep up to date with you?
They can follow me on Instagram, Mutah Beale, Mutahbeale. Pretty much all my social media is the same, Mutah Beale.
Yeah, amazing.
And when you come to Riyadh, come to Bakersfield, Smokey's Beard. Smokey's Beard.
We'll put up a picture from there later on.
Definitely, brother.
So everyone at home, thank you very much for listening. It's been a great episode. Please like, share, comment, and hopefully we'll have somebody just as great on next time. Thank you very much, bro. It's been amazing.
Thank you.